After all, the electoral history of the South has shown that outside of Karnataka, the BJP has struggled to gain a foothold. Out of the 129 seats in the South in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, they had just 29, 25 of which came from Karnataka. So, will 2024 be any different? Will 2024 see the first saffron sunshine in the South for the BJP?
पहले 10 साल बीआरएस ने तेलंगाना को जम करके लूटा। कांग्रेस के पास विकास का एजेंडा नहीं, इसलिए वो तरह तरह के हथकंडे आजमाते हैं। 4 जून को 400 पार के मिशन में कर्नाटका की आप सभी मतदाताओं की बहुत बड़ी भूमिका है। शिवाजी मैदान में इंडिया अलायंस की तरफ से एक खुला ऐलान किया गया है। वो लोग हिंदू धर्म में समाहित शक्ति को समाप्त करना चाहते हैं।
It will be a total clean sweep. I think we'll win 39+1.
So BJP will not make any inroads in the southern part of the
But people of Tamil Nadu will take care of it.
BJP has made through the electoral bonds, which is now unconstitutional and illegal. You've seen how little the Congress has got and other parties have got. Yet, we are absolutely confident they may try to buy the election. We will fight and defeat them.
All right, I want to first take you through the Prime Minister's almost election blitz, if you will, in southern India starting January. The 2nd and 3rd of January, he spent the day after New Year's in Tamil Nadu, Lakshadweep and Kerala. That was the starting week of January in 2024. Then, as part of the 10-day Anushtan, just before the Ram Temple inauguration on the 16th and 17th of January, he went to Andhra Pradesh and to Kerala. Then on the 19th, 20th and 21st, he went to Karnataka and to Tamil Nadu. Then after a month's break or so, he went back again to the south on the 27th and 28th of February, where he was in Kerala and in Tamil Nadu. Then earlier this month, in March, between March 4th and 6th, again, he was in Telangana and then later in Tamil Nadu. And then over the last 2 or 3 days, from the 15th of March, 15th to the 17th, he's been in Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, in Telangana and in Karnataka. And the 18th of March, which is today, he was in Karnataka, Telangana and Tamil Nadu. And tomorrow again, he will be in Kerala and round off with a public rally in Salem in Tamil Nadu. Now, clearly, even as a bulk of the BJP's numbers come from the Hindi heartland, from northern India, the BJP has not shied away from looking south. They're going full steam ahead with a southern expansion. It may not have worked in 2019 or in elections in the past, but News 18's mega opinion poll, which we showcased last week, has predicted a bit of a southern surge for the BJP. Let's take a look at it state by state. The poll suggested that as far as the state of Tamil Nadu is concerned, where right now the BJP does not have a single seat from, the 2019 elections, the DMK Congress combined had won 38 with a 56% vote share. The NDA had 0 seats, ADMK had 1. The poll is suggesting that 30 seats this time will go to DMK Congress, 5 seats to the NDA with an almost 10% jump in vote share, 4 seats to the AIDMK. This is as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned. Let's look at the next state, which is the state of Kerala, where again the politics has always revolved between the UDF and the LDF. The BJP does not have a single MP in the history of Kerala elections in Lok Sabha. Last time the UDF won 18, the LDF won 1 and others won 1. whereas the opinion poll suggests that the LDF could open the BJP could open its account with not just 1 but 2 seats in Kerala at 18% vote share, 4 to the LDF and 14 to the UDF. Then let's go to Karnataka, where again the BJP has had significant presence and significant rewards in elections in the past, including in 2019 as well as in 2014. In 2019, BJP had 26 out of 28 seats with a 61% vote share. Congress had just 1 seat. The prediction in the News 18 opinion poll is BJP will retain a bulk of those 26. They'll get 25 and the Congress will get 3. Others get 0. Meanwhile, in the state of Andhra Pradesh, where again historically the BJP has found it very difficult to open its account. Last time around, the YSRCP had 22. 3 went to the TDP. Remember, the TDP was not in alliance in 2019, but 3 went to the TDP. This time, because of the alliance between the TDP, the BJP and the Janasena party of Pawan Kalyan, the prediction is that they could end up, the NDA could end up getting as many as 18 seats in Andhra Pradesh and 7 seats to the YSR Congress. And finally, in the state of Telangana, where in the last elections in 2019, the BJP opened its account with 4 seats. Last time around with an almost 20% vote share. The Congress had only 3 and the BRS back then had 9 seats. Right now, the News 18 opinion poll, which we showcased last week, is predicting that the Congress would get 6. The BJP could get as many as 8 seats in Telangana, double its seat share from last time around, and the BRS could end up with just 2 seats. So this is as per the News 18 opinion poll for southern states. Let me now open this up to our panelists who are joining us. Dr. Ajay Alok is National Spokesperson of the BJP, Supriya Srinath, National Spokesperson of the Congress Party and in charge of the Social Media Department, Sumansi Raman, author and political analyst joining us, and Shekhar Iyer, veteran journalist, is also on the panel tonight. Let me start with Dr. Ajay Alok. The contention by the India Alliance partners, particularly in southern India, is the Prime Minister can make how many ever trips, how many ever visits he wants to South India, but the electoral history is against the BJP in these states outside of Karnataka. So he may have made 20 trips to South India since the start of 2024, but the prediction seems to be that the BJP will still struggle in these states.
Well, it's not a matter of struggle. Politics is a game of continuous putting yourself in, even if you are not winning. We are not those parties that if we are not winning a seat, we'll leave the place and we'll go away, like what others have done in the past. And results have paid, definitely. If you remember, Telangana, we won 1 seat in 2014 and in 2019 we won 4. And this time your poll prediction says 8, but we are sure of winning at least 10 to 12 seats. That's for sure. In Kerala, there is a definite improvement, as all the poll prediction is saying, but we are going to improve on our tally much more than that, what your poll prediction says. The similar case is in Tamil Nadu. So, and I don't expect my opponents that they will wish good for us. So, it's a matter, and the Prime Minister, under the leadership of the Prime Minister, is a hard-working Prime Minister who, may he remains healthy. The kind of work he puts, that makes every worker very much energetic. That if the Prime Minister can work for 17 to 18 hours, why can't we? So every worker of the BJP is charged up in the southern India states and all over India, and they are giving up everything just to retain seats. And with all these kinds of election gimmicks going around, and people are accusing each other in different manner, humiliating religion very frequently, everything is going to count up. Whether it's the south or whether it's north or east or west.
Okay.
The situation and the story will be the same. We are going to win 400 plus.
Supriya Srinath, before the 2019 Lok Sabha election, the same was said of the BJP and Bengal. But then you saw what the BJP did in Bengal. They were the second largest party with 18 MPs. If the BJP could breach the Bengal fortress, what's stopping them from breaching the south? After all, they're throwing the kitchen sink. The Prime Minister himself has gone there 20 times since the start of this year.
I challenge the Prime Minister to put himself on the ticket as far as the South is concerned. There are 5 states there: Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra, Telangana. Sorry, 6. And the Prime Minister just needs to put himself on the ticket. The Prime Minister should take a leap of faith, and if he is so confident, he should pick 1 seat south of Vindhyas and contest that seat this election. That will show his intention, that will show his determination, and that will also show how serious he is about the south of India, how serious he is and how reliable his information on the South is. He can be misled by his own people. That's another thing altogether. If the Prime Minister is serious about the South, if the Prime Minister believes he has a winning chance there, if the Prime Minister of this country has a foot in the door as far as the southern states is concerned, let him contest an election there. He belonged to Gujarat. He came all the way to UP. UP elected him twice to Parliament. Let him try his luck in any of the southern states. If according to you, things are about to turn and the tide is about to change. That's part one of the argument. Part two of the argument, and a very plausible part two of the argument, Zaka, also is that there is a reason why the South doesn't vote for Mr. Modi. Mr. Modi likes imperialistic things, whether it's language imperialism, whether it's imposing this one nation, one thought, one color, this oneness of things. India is a beautiful and a very, very beautiful bouquet of very diverse flowers. He tries to make it all paint in one color. State after state doesn't like that. Whether it's, the South, whether it's the Northeast, Mizoram, look at his vote share at half this election. Manipur, he can't set his foot in that state. So people don't like to be painted with one color, especially when our plurality and our diversity is so beautiful and needs to be celebrated.
Okay.
People are very fond and very, very, they feel very proud of their language. The Prime Minister forgets about not understanding those languages. A lot of us don't either. But we respect their culture, we respect their languages, we respect diversity. We don't want to paint the entire country in one color, which is why he doesn't have acceptability. Okay. And I doubt he ever will. And if he thinks he does, let him contest one seat in the South.
So, Ajay, a quick response, particularly to the second point, because this is a familiar sort of narrative against the BJP that you're a North Indian party, you don't know the South, you don't understand the South, and that's why you're not able to expand in the South.
Why not the first part of the argument, Zaka?
Fair enough.
Was that too tough to handle?
Yeah, no, the first part, he can respond to the first part as well. Yeah, Ajay, look.
Sure.
She very conveniently forgets that the Prime Minister in 2014 contested from Gujarat and UP, and he chose to retain UP. And now since UP is his workplace, he's contesting from UP and he's not scared of losing the seat. So he need not go anywhere else. Let other contest. If the same theory should be applied, Prime Minister should have contested from Bengal last time. All this logic does not work. Basically, what you are there on the ground is for everyone to see. Why Rahul Gandhi is not contesting from Amethi? Is he scared of losing? Why no candidate from Raebareli? Scared of losing? You are not finding candidates for madam. Nobody is ready to contest in UP and Bihar from a Congress ticket. That is the truth. So, talking about BJP and BJP not respecting the language and the plurality and the diversity of this country, then you are badly mistaken. Akhand Rashtra, we don't consider the India as a part, but we believe in India as such. We don't divide India on the basis of South and North, that's like what your leader does. Okay. Now and very frequently, even Rahul Gandhi did when he won from Wayanad, and he said that the people of the South and people of Wayanad are different from what I used to interact with people in Amethi. That's what Rahul Gandhi said. So you people are there for the diversionary tactic. You people are there for division. We are for the integration of the nation. We consider India as one nation, not like you guys.
Okay, I want to bring in the other two guests as well before I
just give me. I need to have a
right.
Yeah, I know.
I still have
Zaka,
another.
I need to have a short right of retort.
Yes.
This is not fair.
Sure.
Absolutely unfair, like you always do. I need to. He spoke twice. I need to speak
what
twice.
What is a short right of retort?
That's all
it's never short. That's why. But I have two other guests as well. I have two other guests. I mean, please let's extend the same courtesy.
That I said, Zaka.
Okay, short right of retort. 30 seconds. Okay,
Zaka,
let's do it. Short right of retort, 30 seconds.
You gave him a right
at the cost of Dr. Sumant Raman and Shekhar Iyer. Yeah, 30 seconds. Supriya, go ahead.
You can go.
Congress has an imposing habit all the time
guests,
on every place.
But the way, Zaka.
God, go ahead. I'm waiting for you.
Zaka Jacob, you can go to 20 other guests for all I care, because this is your show and you've invited the four of us. But when you ask me for my answer and you go to him for a retort, it's only fair as an anchor and as a channel that you come to me for a counter as well. You made him speak twice, you make me speak twice as well. That's what fair shows are all about. Unless you want to wear another feather.
No, I'm still waiting for the retort.
I have a very simple argument.
The teacher attitude
I will speak for as long as my opponent did.
Yeah. You said short right to retort. Come on, let's get it out of the way. Let me get to the two other guests also, please.
You're doing me no favor by giving me a right to retort. It's only what a fair anchor would do.
Yes,
Anyways,
go ahead.
to cut the long story short, I put out something very tersely and something very matter-of-factly. Mr. Modi is focusing on the South, like you in your opening commentary said. Like your surveys showing the BJP is turning this tide in the south of India. You know, survey after survey that CNN News 18 has put together. Mr. Modi just has to take a leap of faith. He just needs to pick a seat anywhere in all of these states. These are states that belong to the country. There is a reason why Mizoram, there is a reason why Assam, there is a reason why Manipur are at civil war with each other. Do you not realize what's happening in this country?
Okay.
Does Mr. Modi even care?
Now let me
That's
go.
the question.
Okay, let me
He
go to the other
doesn't,
two guests.
and
They've
he
been
never
waiting.
will.
They've been waiting patiently. Dr. Sumant Raman. Just look at, and I said this at the top of the show as well. Kerala, in the last 3 months, the PM has gone there 3 times. Tamil Nadu, the maximum, he's gone there 7 times in the last 3 months. Karnataka, 3 times in 3 months. Andhra Pradesh, twice in 3 months. And Telangana, 4 times in 3 months. Now, whether or not you agree or disagree, and you're absolutely well within your right to diss the opinion polls, including the News 18 opinion poll last week. By the way, there are other opinion polls which are also suggesting that the BJP will do much better in the South compared to 2019 or 2014. But, like I said, there were instances, I mean, in 2014, I remember, people said, how can the BJP, even get to double digits in UP, right? The last time they had a sizable, respectable share of MPs from UP was way back in the late 90s, in the early 2000s. How will they get 50 seats or 60 seats? They ended up with 71. This was said in 2014, not so long ago. And the Bengal example that I cited just before the 2019 election, they said BJP has never had any presence in Bengal. They've not had a single MP from Bengal. And they had 18 in 2019. At that time too, both Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah, used to go to Bengal every other day. And people were like, why are they focusing so much on Bengal? They're not going to get anything from Bengal. The same is being said about the South this time around as well. Why should we believe that just like Bengal was a breakout for the BJP in 2019, that the South will not be one for the BJP this time around? Why? What is so different about the South?
Zaka, there are 2 reasons why the South may not be so easy to breach for the BJP. The first is that Hindutva does not have the same kind of appeal in southern part of India as it does in the north. And even in Bengal, though Hindutva is not such a powerful element there is an element of polarization which is possible because of the large minority population in Bengal. So there is a fertile ground in other parts of the country which the South does not afford for the BJP. That's natural. The second point is that one of the tricks that I believe the BJP has missed out on is that the way to South India's heart is through its pocket. And the BJP has not been liberal in opening the purse strings as far as southern India is concerned. Tamil Nadu, I will give you an example, the classic example. The BJP could have won more vote share in Tamil Nadu had they released 200 or 300 crores for flood relief. Now the DMK carries it and says they did not give 1 paisa. So these kind of things, the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Madurai, for which the first brick has not been laid in 7 years. So I think that the BJP missed a trick. Large parts of southern India have voters who are extremely politically conscious. Kerala, we all know how politically conscious the state is. So even in Kerala, where there is a possibility of creating a polarization, the BJP has not succeeded. So I think they have missed a trick. One correction to what Ms. Supriya said is that the Prime Minister can actually comfortably win in quite a few seats in the South. Classical example being Karnataka. He can win from any of the seats in Bangalore. He can win from Secunderabad in Telangana. So there are enough and more seats where he could win comfortably from the South. But it's not about him. It's about the rest of the party being able to pull its weight. And since he is virtually the sole campaigner for the party now, and nobody else is really in a position to even support him in a significant manner, that is why he is having to make these rounds repeatedly. So I think it's also a sort of, while the BJP may advertise it as their strength, I think it's also a reflection of their weakness that they have just one star campaigner and just one person is going to have to crisscross, which has also led to this charge that the schedule of the election was created in a way that enables Mr. Modi to cover as many constituencies as
so
possible.
let me show this on the magic wall before I go to Shekhar Iyer on this one, as to why the BJP thinks that the South is fertile ground for it, and why the South is critical for them if they have to get to mission 370 individually or NDA's mission 400. Let's go one by one. Let's start with Tamil Nadu. In 2019, remember, the ADMK and the BJP at that time fought together, but we've separated their vote shares just so that our viewers understand. Last time around, the BJP didn't get a single seat out of Tamil Nadu. They had a 3.5%, almost 3.6% vote share. This was in 2019. This is the state of Tamil Nadu, 0 MPs, 3.5% vote share. In the state of Kerala, where their vote share has been always in double digits, even in the last election, even though it was a straight fight between LDF and UDF, and it's always seen this bipolarity. The NDA, the BJP, ended up getting 13% vote share. Its ally, the BDJS, almost 2%. So 15% vote share the NDA got, but again, 0 seats in the state of Kerala. In the state of Andhra Pradesh, this could possibly be a breakout state for the BJP. Last time, remember, they were not fighting together, but this time we've added the TDP, the Jan Sena, and the BJP, of course. The BJP had a less than 1% vote share last time around. The TDP had almost 40%. Jan Sena had about 6% or so. So if you add the vote shares, it's almost as much as what the YSRCP got. Remember, last time YSRCP swept in both the state elections as well as in the Lok Sabha elections. The TDP had 3 MPs. The BJP had none at less than 1% vote share. But combined, this is where the sum of parts is greater than each of them individually. Combined, they have almost 47% vote share, which is closer to the 49% vote share which YSRCP had last time around. And of course, in Telangana, where the BJP has done traditionally well, last time around they had 4 MPs, all seats north of Hyderabad, where they had 4 MPs at almost 20% vote share, 19.5% vote share. But the BRS, which was the ruling party back then, had 9 seats and 41% vote share. This vote share and this MP sort of number of seats for the BRS, who will it go to? Will it split more in favor of the BJP, or will it split more in favor of the Congress, which is the ruling party? So will it be an anti-incumbent vote, or will it be a vote that favors the incumbent again? So the BJP is hoping that it can improve its share of 4 MPs and 20% vote share in the state of Telangana. So Shekhar Iyer, now that I've put out the lay of the land in terms of vote share and seats that the BJP had in 2019, why is 2024 looking different to you? At least that's the BJP's hope. That's what they are sort of riding the mission 370 on, that they will have substantial gains in southern India. Of course, in northern India, large parts of the Hindi heartland, they won maximum seats in UP, in Bihar, in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. So why do they feel that in 2024 they'll be able to do substantially better in the south as compared to the last 2 elections?
Zaka, the Prime Minister's mission south did not begin in January or 6 months ago. It has been on since the last 2 years when the Kashi Tamil Sangamam was thought of. And after that, you had the Saurashtra Tamil Sangamam. The Prime Minister has believed that Tamil Nadu, states like Tamil Nadu hold a huge potential. Huge potential because the perception that you get upon Tamil Nadu is largely from a media which owes its allegiance to DMK, and also a lot of the so-called social media influencers are either because of duress from the DMK or otherwise tend to play down the role of the BJP. But when Annamalai undertook this Padayatra, the kind of reception he got, because it was straight away from zero, and the Prime Minister always believes that whether people call it hype or not, ultimately those hype can turn into reality. And today, if he is spending time in Coimbatore, in Salem, and repeatedly going there, or even in Kerala, Kerala has always been a demographic challenge to BJP. But in states like Tamil Nadu, where the Prime Minister believes BJP cannot simply keep its eyes off Tamil Nadu, at least he doesn't want the BJP to meet the fate of the Congress. See, Congress today in Tamil Nadu cannot do anything independently. In fact, in the last 5 years, even Sonia Gandhi asked their leaders in the meeting in last October, why you people are not active on the ground? But Prime Minister doesn't want that to happen to BJP. That is why this time they may be ploughing a lonely furrow. Because right now the one good news that is coming is Patali Makkal Katshi is now going to align with the BJP. That's a very big thing that will happen. It will influence some constituencies in western districts, also some constituencies in northern districts. This has happened after a huge debate within the PMK family. between the father Dr. S. Ramadas and the son Anbumani Ramadas, who favors going with the BJP. So, Tamil Nadu is a state where the Prime Minister is not a person who will just, go by the feeling that we can never do it. Because in other states where they have grown, they have started like this only. When everybody is saying it's all hype, nothing will happen, and they have moved.
Okay.
And today, and Zaka, since Supriya Srinath is present today, in fact, the whole day there was speculation about Supriya being the Congress candidate for Raebareli. The whole day it was going on.
We won't do that speculation. I'm not going to put her in that embarrassing position where she has to confirm or deny that on TV.
The whole day
but we'll wait for that official announcement. But I know what you're talking about. But anyway, today's debate is not about individual candidates. It's about whether the BJP can make roads into the south, inroads in a way that they haven't in 2019 or in 2014. So Ajay Alok, one of the problems for the BJP, and you can look at the record from 2014, even in state elections, where the BJP has gone up against a powerful regional party, whether in the south or in the east, their record has been much worse compared to when it's a straight fight between the BJP and the Congress. And you can take a look at Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, in any state, even in the smaller states, Uttarakhand, etc., where it's straight fight between the Congress and the BJP tends to do much better. Whereas when it's BJP up against a regional party, as is the case in many of the southern states, they tend to do not so well.
No, these trends are changing. These trends are changing, and the politics is never constant. It's a dynamic process. Like what I said earlier, that you have to put in yourself all 24/7, and that's what we have been doing. For example, Northeast Tripura is a classical example. We ended the bastion of communists for the last 25 years by constant trying, and our workers did that. Now, you said that BJP is trying to come to in South. No, we are already there in the South. We are the largest party in the South. We have more MPs than Congress in South at the moment. We're trying to increase our tally. Karnataka, we are already there. We have already made inroads in Tamil Nadu, like what right now my esteemed friend Shekhar said. Under Annamalaiji's leadership, the BJP is doing tremendously well, and we are pretty confident that Tamil Nadu is going to come up as a surprise. The same thing will happen in Kerala. Andhra, with this alliance with TDP and Pawan Jan Sena, we are going to sweep Andhra like anything. So the dynamics is absolutely changing, and everybody is aware of it. Look at the kind of veil attacks the BJP is facing, just because when you face attacks, because when you are a threat, and we are already a threat to all these existing parties. And that is because the Prime Minister considered that the BJP should be strong on their own feet, should not be dependent, like what you said earlier, that we don't want to be like Congress, that we are dependent on anyone. No, we are trying to make our organization, the effort is on, we will improve from 2019, that is for sure, and in 5 years, definitely, we will try and build our state government also. That is also the future dream. And that's what every state leadership is thinking, whether Telangana or whether Tamil Nadu or whether Kerala.
So, Supriya Srinath, the BJP is positioning itself as the principal opposition player, or at least trying to occupy the opposition space, whether it is in Tamil Nadu with a disintegrated AIDMK, whether it is in Telangana where your party is in power and the BRS seems to be on the wane, the BJP is trying to capture the opposition space. Even in Andhra Pradesh, the principal fight today is between YSRCP and this NDA alliance of TDP, JSP and BJP. The Congress is nowhere in the picture in that state. So please answer to that point. I think Shekhar was making that point. Today the Congress is a junior partner even in a state like Tamil Nadu.
Firstly, I would not like to answer anything from the BJP, its ecosystem or its mouthpieces to begin with, whether it's speculation on me or any vile comments being made here. I would want to say two things, Zaka, and please remember the two southern states that went into elections recently were Karnataka and Telangana. Please count the number of trips that the Prime Minister made to both these states, and both these states resoundingly rejected what he was offering. They resoundingly rejected his divisive agenda. They resoundingly rejected what he was trying to do with his B teams there. Did not work. So Karnataka and Telangana voted decisively and voted in our favor. That's point number one. Point number two, and it's rather hilarious for me to hear a BJP spokesperson say, we are not dependent on anyone. If you see the kind of inclusions that the BJP is making, the way they bent backwards in a state like Bihar, or the kind of tussle that they're facing in Maharashtra, or the kind of inclusions they're making from other political parties into their fray, it doesn't bode well for a party that says we are not dependent on anyone. Actually, the BJP has never looked as helpless and with such open arms to anybody and everybody from whatever ideology and whatever past and whatever they may have done and whatever allegations that they may have been thrown at. So the reality is that the BJP is far more dependent on everybody else than it has ever been. I mean, that's data for you, and I'm just rattling stuff that one sees as a student of politics. You see what's happening in the BJP. The BJP is far, far, far more desperate to accommodate anybody who's willing to join the BJP today, and at the cost of ignoring its own cadre. So this doesn't vote for somebody who says we're not dependent on anyone. I only have one thing to say. This is not about the South versus the North, and I would advise channels like you to not make that divide either. I will not sit here and be preached by a spokesperson, a foul-mouthed spokesperson, that we divide. I think India remained united with the Congress in power. We are seeing the divisive secessionist forces coming to force right under the BJP's nose. So no, I'm not going to take that line down. But I will say one thing, whether it is the South or the North, the issues of the people, whether it's unemployment, high prices, income inequality, growing accumulation of wealth in the hands of few, and crimes against women. It is blasphemous to not talk about these issues and make these imaginary divides in our mind. The Prime Minister, if he's sure about the political heavyweight, he must go to the South and contest the election.
Ajay, quick rebuttal on the point. I mean, if you're so confident about 370 and 400, why are you making alliances with BJD? Even in your home state, the JDU and LJP and so on. What was a reason to, ally with all of these parties if you're so confident about 370 and 400? That's the question from Supreshini.
If inclusion in Indian politics is like backbending, we are better in doing that. We believe in inclusive politics. We are making allies because allies want to ally with us because we are powerful. They want to come under the leadership of Modi. We are not forming an India where multiple leaders are there. And what kind of inclusion? I am begging, please come in West Bengal. I am begging. No, all 42 candidates announced. What do you understand by inclusive politics? You are a threat to every second people whom you ally with. Whether it's a case in Maharashtra, whether it's in UP, you are not trustworthy, everybody says. That's on record. We are
you are a threat to this nation, Mr. Whatever your name is. You are a threat to this nation.
You have already destroyed this nation. We are trying to repair this. We are trying to repair it. Your problem is the Congress Party's problem is the grand illusion. The grand illusion you have that you are the so-called demigods of this country.
You are not a
trying to impose everything on everyone. Even on the channel. Even on the channel you try to impose. This is your problem.
Okay.
And please get out of your grand illusion. It's already broken.
I'm going to pull out of the spokespersons. Let me give the final comments to Dr. Sumant Raman. I don't want to bring in historical sort of references or historical examples, but you go back all the way to the 1977 election, something similar happened, where it was an iconic election. It was a seminal election where India voted out Mrs. Gandhi. But even in that election, the Congress had residual seats in the South, whereas it was a Janata Party that won in North India. Today, something similar is being seen. Would it be safe to say that the BJP making inroads in southern India is perhaps more plausible than Congress revival in the heartland? Because on both of these factors, I suspect, will lie the result of the 2024 election.
I think, Zaka, what we can all agree on is that the BJP is going to improve its vote share. Now, where we differ is this translating into number of seats, especially in the states of Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Telangana. That's really where the dispute is. I don't think there's anybody in this panel who's actually going to say the BJP is not going to increase its vote share. The point really is that if they are thinking long term, yes, that could be, and they have been thinking long term in most of the other places. So to that extent, I think that this strategy will work. Will it make an immediate impact? I don't think so. I don't think that they're going to win big in Tamil Nadu. I don't think so at all. And I think this whole issue of Mr. Annamalai is hugely overhyped. If the poll was held on social media, I'm sure BJP will sweep in Tamil Nadu, but I don't see it happening on the ground. Yeah, so
all right.
many of the southern states, they're going to increase vote share, but they're not going to win a great deal outside.
I'm going to have to leave it at that. We're completely out of time. But let's see. This whole conversion from vote share to seats, you have to cross the minimum threshold. Depends from state to state. It depends from election to election. It could vary anywhere between 25% to 33%. So between a fourth and a third is that break point where you convert vote share into seats. And for that, like I showed on the magic wall, in many of these states, the BJP needs to up its vote share substantially. As Sumant Raman said, one way of doing that is to fight on your own strength and not to have to depend on allies and the crushes of allies, which is what they're doing, at least in a large number of these southern states. Whether or not that converts into seats, that of course is going to be a big question. But up next, we'll take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, a deep dive on what is the first campaign by the United States to deliver aid via the sea route into the Gaza Strip. This has sparked a huge diplomatic and strategic tension between both Joe Biden and Benjamin Netanyahu and their respective governments. Also, we'll take a closer look at the espionage machinery that's been set up in the aftermath of a victory by Vladimir Putin. This is the 6th time that he has won the presidency of Russia. But it is also coming at a time when there's been an active step up of espionage games, almost going back to the days reminiscent of the Cold War, when it was KGB operatives against the CIA operatives. So are we seeing a return, at least as far as the espionage games are concerned, back to the heady days of the Cold War?
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with policymakers, change agents and agenda setters from across the world will come together on one stage to discuss the many intricate strands at the heart of Bharat's triumphs, its extraordinary growth story and unbounded potential. Dream Sports presents News 18 Rising Bharat Summit in partnership with Hindustan Times, 19th and 20th March, only on News 18 Network. Presented by...
Well, then what Rahul Gandhi was talking about is the Shakti of the BJP, and that Shakti is the ED, the CBI, the other investigative arms, and also the EVMs. And this is what we are fighting against, because we want to fight for the rights of the people and against rising prices as well as unemployment. Unfortunately, in politics, words will have to matter a lot, and they do matter a lot. They are very, very important, which is why Rahul Gandhi's these comments and the PM's strong response to it is certainly not going to make it easy for him and for the Congress party.
हिंदू धर्म में शक्ति शब्द होता है। हम शक्ति से लड़ रहे हैं।
उन्होंने कहा है कि उनकी लड़ाई शक्ति के खिलाफ है। मेरे लिए हर मां शक्ति का रूप है।
Well, as expected, Rahul Gandhi's comments on Shakti has now evoked a strong response from the Prime Minister himself. In his southern leg in Mission to 370 or 400 power, the Prime Minister started attacking by saying that for me, everyone is Shakti. Every daughter, every mother is Shakti. Clearly, this is a response to Rahul Gandhi's earlier comment at the Mumbai Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra, where he talked about the fact that how the political opponents of the BJP and the Prime Minister were being targeted by ED, CBI and the EVMs. What perhaps Rahul Gandhi was trying to say was that the power or the Shakti of the government came in from misuse of these powers that it have to target his political opponents. But he began his speech by saying that in Hindu Dharma there is Shakti and we are fighting against this Shakti. This immediately evoked a very, very strong reaction from the BJP, with one leader after another now questioning the Rahul Gandhi factor and accusing the Congress and him of being anti-Hindu. But more than that, his comment about fighting against Shakti also earned him the tag of being a misogynist. misogynist. That's exactly what the Prime Minister has played on when he says that for me, every daughter, every mother is Shakti, clearly is reaching out to women empowerment. As we all know, Nari Shakti, women empowerment, is at the crux of the Lok Sabha elections 2024. With the number of women voters increasing, large number of women now stepping out into those fields where they have never entered before. This comment of Rahul Gandhi is now getting this color which has been given by the BJP of him being an anti-women's mindset. That, along with an anti-Hindu mindset narrative against Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party, can hurt it politically. So yet another slogan which has now been taken up by the BJP at a time where every political party is now trying to woo the woman card. Rahul Gandhi has been a controversial child when it comes to his language. In the recent past, many of his comments has made things difficult for his party. Remember, recently he had told the crowd during the Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra that look, the PM wants you to chant Jai Shri Ram because he doesn't want your attention to be focused on unemployment, on rising prices. Also remember, during the Kashi leg, he had said that when I went there, I found a large number of women, a large number of youth who were drunk, and this is again his dig at the Kashi corridor. These are emotive moments. Post Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha, this has become a strong issue by the BJP to try and build up a thread across the country. The fact that the Congress decided to miss the Pran Pratishtha is also something which has gone against them. With the Prime Minister himself stepping in to attack Rahul Gandhi's Shakti comments, the game is all open. The BJP, of course, is being countered by the Congress party, where the Congress is repeatedly saying, and in fact led by the Congress president himself, that what Rahul Gandhi was talking about is the Shakti of the BJP, and that Shakti is the ED, the CBI, the other investigative arms, and also the EVMs. And this is what we are fighting against, because we want to fight for the rights of the people and against rising prices as well as unemployment. Unfortunately, in politics, words will have to matter a lot, and they do matter a lot. They are very, very important, which is why Rahul Gandhi's these comments and the PM's strong response to it is certainly not going to make it easy for him and for the Congress party.
A ship belonging to the world's central kitchen reached the Larnaca port in Cyprus about 3 weeks ago. Now it has set sail for Gaza, it's reached there, and in the process it has managed to create history. That's because this ship has started the first ever maritime humanitarian route that may change the way that aid is transferred to the Gaza Strip. The ship is loaded with more than 200 tons of flour, rice, tuna cans, and other food products that has already been inspected by Israeli officials who came to Larnaca to ensure that the cargo does not carry any military equipment or weapons or material that might be used for military purposes. It is still unclear how this cargo will be unloaded and who is going to distribute it and how they're going to distribute it inside Gaza, because the construction of a temporary American pier out at sea, that could possibly take another couple of months. The intention is to begin by unloading the ship's cargo onto smaller boats and barges, which are then capable of mooring themselves onto the beach. On Crux Decode, how after food airdrops, the US and its international partners are trying aid by sea. Whether this will work, and if it does it not break one of Israel's key strategic doctrines over the last 2 decades, which is the blockade of Gaza, that Israel has exclusive control over what goes in and what comes out of this coastal strip. The relief organization responsible for this first flotilla was established by the award-winning American chef Jose Andres. He has extensive experience providing humanitarian aid right around the world. In Gaza, the World Central Kitchen manages about 60 kitchens which are operated by local residents, many of them women. They cook meals for those who are in need in the coastal strip.
Been having long and sleep nights. This began many months ago when I announced that I was sending a boat to Cyprus. And I know a lot of people roll their eyes. with intention to go to Gaza, and a lot of people roll their eyes. But here we are on even if we felt already a big achievement, which was probably many people will deny this, but I have a feeling if World Central Kitchen has done anything is to make world leaders to be announcing right and left that they were building a maritime corridor and a port in front of Gaza. I think this has been our achievement.
But large quantities of cargo will also require special preparations. It will need warehouses and transportation, security, and of course people to oversee the distribution, all of which has not yet been put into place. But the plans for this flotilla at sea, which will be used as a floating pier to try and transfer aid into Gaza, they've been the ongoing subject of discussion between the United States, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and of course Israel for a number of weeks now. Meanwhile, American forces have begun installing the temporary terminal that will be connected to the Gazan coast. This floating pier is expected to be about 500 meters long, and to this, subsequently, aid ships are expected to dock. This project, which is jointly funded by the United Arab Emirates and the United States, will take more than 1,000 American soldiers to assemble, operate, and maintain in the maritime part of this terminal. But these soldiers will not actually set foot inside the Gaza Strip. Now, here is the singular and specific purpose of this pier. It is meant only to solve the concrete problem of the scope and the amount of aid that enters Gaza. But the decision to build a pier turned into a most urgent, almost imminent one when it became clear that dropping aid from the air, as has been done in recent weeks, is much more expensive, it is ineffective, and potentially also dangerous. Just in the last few days, 5 Palestinians were killed when the aid parcel parachutes failed. But even beyond the technical solution that this floating pier might provide, it will neutralize Israel's policy of turning humanitarian aid into a strategic pressure point on Hamas. Israel has made it extremely difficult for a number of years now for aid to reach Gaza. There is a protracted process which involves inspecting the cargo at 2 particular crossings, the Kerem Shalom and the Nitzana crossings. The police are also infamously display ineptitude while dealing with right-wing Israeli demonstrators who, of course, are singularly interested in preventing trucks from going inside Gaza. There was also, 2 weeks back, the disaster in which more than 115 people were killed. They were run over, some of them were overrun by the crowd, some died at the hand of IDF soldiers and gunfire from them. One thing that all of these misfortunes have made clear to Washington and its partners is that its strategy must change. It is time for America to enter the event and to assume responsibility for managing humanitarian assistance. Make no mistake, Israel will still be responsible for doing all the security checks on these shipments. Apparently, this is going to happen at the Cypriot port of Limassol. But as far as is known, it will have no say over the amount of aid or the pace of the shipments that are going to come into Gaza. Most importantly, this maritime route through which goods will enter Gaza in quantities equal to 100 trucks every day could also lead to shipments that are not necessarily strictly within the definition of humanitarian aid. For instance, the United States, in coordination with its European partners, could also bring in construction supplies. It could bring in equipment to repair water and electricity lines. Also mobile homes, which could be used by Gazans who want to return to the north from the south. This American humanitarian project does not only bypass Israel, it also eases the pressure on the Egyptian authorities to throw open the Rafah crossing. That's the singular crossing in the south between Egypt and Gaza. It also will allow unrestricted passage of goods and people to and from Gaza. The Rafah crossing, just like Israel's Kerem Shalom and the Nitzana crossings, will continue to operate, but Gazans will be less dependent on Rafah, and the Israeli and Egyptian governments will decide how and when to open them. This American plan includes no diktats on the scope of Israel's military operations in Gaza, and to a large extent, what it would also do is it would free Israel of the responsibility to manage the humanitarian aspects of this campaign. But overall responsibility for the civilian population will still be that of Israel. But crucially, what this does is it denies Israel the option to use aid as a tool of warfare. The temporary cargo terminal, which might become a port eventually, poses major questions for the blockade that Israel has imposed on Gaza in the last 17 years. Back in 2010, Israel had intercepted a Turkish-sponsored flotilla which tried to break the blockade and bring aid into Gaza. Clashes then erupted between Israeli soldiers and passengers on board the Mavi Marmara. It resulted in the death of 11 Turkish nationals. It also went on to create a huge diplomatic rupture between Israel and Turkey. Yet, this enormous effort that Israel has invested in blocking access to Gaza, that did not prevent Hamas from building massive underground tunnels, importing arms, training troops, and ultimately carrying out the horrific October 7th attack. Now Israel has trapped itself in a situation in which it can no longer block all of these routes because its most important ally, the United States, is the one that is sponsoring this flotilla to Gaza. Washington is thereby shattering one of Israel's strategic doctrines, as part of which the blockade of Gaza played a key role. Yet, America still doesn't have any orderly plan of how to distribute the aid once it arrives at this temporary floating pier. It also needs to make sure that this aid reaches those who desperately need it. There is still no Palestinian actor on the ground who is willing to take on responsibility to distribute this aid. Washington is still holding talks with senior Palestinian Authority officials about the need to revitalize the PA. They want to set up effective governing institutions. But there is opposition within the PLO and the ruling party there in the West Bank, which is Mahmoud Abbas's Fatah party. And this is over the appointment of one of Mr. Abbas's cronies, Mohammad Mustafa, as the new prime minister in place of the popular Mohammad Shatea, who resigned about a couple of weeks back, but he continues to be the caretaker prime minister. The result may well be that Israeli soldiers will have the responsibility of securing and distributing the aid. They might have to take the help of local as well as international aid organizations, and all of this is going to happen over and above the ongoing military operation. And that could prove to be the first stage of a dangerous precedent of trying to turn the IDF into an army of occupation and also an army that will maintain law and order inside Gaza. Russia has aggressively relaunched its spy wars with the West. Proof of it was in Moscow's recent publication of a phone call in which two senior German Air Force officers are discussing sending cruise missiles into Ukraine. In recent weeks, almost every week, it seems another covert operation comes to light. It shows how far Russia's intelligence agencies have penetrated Europe since Moscow launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine 2 years ago. On the 27th of February, Tihomir Ivanchev, he became the 6th Bulgarian national to be charged with being part of a suspected Russian spy ring. This got busted in the UK. 2 weeks before that, Maxim Kuzimov, a Russian military pilot who defected to Ukraine last year, was found dead in Spain. His body was riddled with bullets, including a shot through his heart. France has also claimed to uncover a network of over 100 Russian-origin websites that are designed to spread misinformation ahead of the European elections that are due later this year. The European Parliament has also opened a probe into whether a Latvian MEP might be an agent for the Russian Secret Service. However, it was last weekend's leaked phone conversations between these senior German Air Force officers that was Moscow's most explosive propaganda coup so far this year. The Luftwaffe officers are discussing in that phone call how Kiev could use German-supplied missiles to destroy the Kerch Bridge. Our viewers will remember that the Kerch Bridge links mainland Russia to Russian-occupied Crimea. German officials said that this leak and the subsequent accusations from Moscow that Germany was devising cunning plans to attack Russia were a blatant attempt by President Vladimir Putin to divide Ukraine's allies. The apparent step-up in Kremlin's counterintelligence operations marks a new confidence amongst Russia's spy masters. But that was not the case when this war began 2 years ago. First, Western agencies stole and publicized Moscow's plans for Ukraine's invasion. Once Russian tanks started rolling towards Kiev, then European capitals ejected as many as 600 diplomats 400 of whom were believed to be Russian spies. Several Russian illegals who are operating without diplomatic cover were also uncovered. When Russia's ground invasion stalled, Putin placed the top FSB leadership under house arrest for grossly misjudging Ukraine's resistance. But since then, Russia's main intelligence services, the GRU military intelligence, the FSB Federal Security Service, and the SVR Foreign Intelligence Agency have all regrouped and revamped their spy craft to improve chances of Russia's conventional military operations. But the priorities remain the same: to steal Western secrets, to widen divisions within NATO, and to undermine support for Ukraine. But the methods have become far more ingenious to compensate for the disrupted espionage networks in Europe. One of the Kremlin's biggest changes seems to be the use of proxy intelligence actors. Now, before the war, Western agencies were mostly dealing with Russian operations that were carried out by Russian nationals across Europe. Today, that may no longer be the case. Russian covert operations are now using a range of foreign nationals who are drawn from politics, business, even organized crime. Like, for example, the Serbian gang that organized last year's escape of Artem Us, who is a Kremlin-linked businessman who was arrested in Italy under suspicions of selling American military technology to Moscow. The Kremlin also applied pressure on Russian exiles to try and co-opt them and other opponents of the Putin regime who had fled abroad after the war started. For Russia's spy masters, conducting operations at a distance by using remote working and freshly recruited proxies has both its advantages and disadvantages. On the one hand, there is greater scope for deniability. Proxies can also be effective for operations like stealing trade secrets, setting up sanctions evading export schemes, or even penetrating some computer networks. A USB stick that's plugged into a computer by an office cleaner could deliver just as much intelligence, just as valuable intelligence as that you would get from a human source that's been cultivated for many years. But operational security can also be a risk. Proxies can be hard to control without an on-ground agent to try and control them. To address that, Russia's GRU military intelligence unit has begun recruiting who they call clean skins. These are basically agents who have no military background, and therefore it becomes much harder for them to be detected. Therefore, they can cross into target countries, and establish personal contacts without being relatively noticed. This was revealed according to a recent report by the Royal United Services Institute think tank in London. And to some extent, the old model of legal Russian spies working out of embassies, it still continues to hold in traditionally neutral countries like Austria or Switzerland. Security officials from both of these countries said that there were about 150 known Russian agents who are still operating there under diplomatic cover. Another intelligence official from a different country estimated that nearly a third of Russia's intelligence operations across Europe now run from Vienna and Geneva. In addition, Russia's spy masters have also strengthened their bases outside the Schengen zone, which is the EU passport-free zone. Turkey and the United Arab Emirates, for example, both in the Middle East, have become important staging posts for Russia's intelligence operations meant for Europe. Several expelled Russian agents have also reportedly relocated to Belgrade, which is the capital of Serbia. Belgrade maintains good ties with Moscow. Russia's new approach was described by Norway's Domestic Intelligence Service in its recent annual report, and I quote from it: "We expect that Russia will try to compensate for the loss of intelligence officers, among other things, by sending more visiting agents." So in other words, Russia could use more illegals. For example, Jose Assis Guiamaria, who is supposedly a Brazilian academic who took up a post at a Norwegian university in 2021. But he was exposed as an alleged Russian undercover officer. The very next year, he's now awaiting trial. It is all but impossible to know how effective Russia's revamped spycraft methods will prove to be. In the intelligence world, you always know less than what you actually know. The West and its spy masters were hopeful of countering Russian espionage, Will Burns, who's the director of the CIA, wrote recently that Putin's growing authoritarianism has created an undercurrent of disaffection in Russia's security agencies. He also views this as a once-in-a-generation recruiting opportunity. Similar thoughts have been echoed by Sir Richard Moore, the head of the MI6, who has said, and again I quote, "There are many Russians today who are silently appalled. Our door is always open." But at the same time, the expulsions of Russian diplomats may have made counterintelligence much harder. Western agencies previously knew which diplomats were spies, and they could track who they met and even potentially recruit them. Either way, the operational effectiveness of these so-called co-opted illegals or clean skins is often less than imagined. They do not have the kind of capabilities that regular agents do. Sleepers work alone, they don't have much access to secret information, and clearly they don't have any official support. Since the Ukraine invasion, Western agencies have also stepped up cooperation, building a network of databases and connections to catch Russian operatives. There is much more international collaboration. It's become a priority of sorts now. With counterterrorism, the new mantra seems to be dare to share. Even so, Russia's intelligence machine will sometimes succeed spectacularly, like they did in 2020 with the SolarWinds cyber attack that hacked the Pentagon, or with the German air officer's leak case that happened recently. The days of the Cold War spy sagas are far from over.
From leading troops to shaping US foreign policy, get ready to dive into the remarkable journey of former US Secretary of State Michael R. Pompeo. Don't miss his insights on driving international partnerships and economic growth as Bharat paves the way towards global leadership. Dream Sports presents News 18 Rising Bharat Summit in partnership with Hindustan Times, 19th and 20th March.
Co-presented by JK Puncture Guard Tire. अब हवा नहीं निकलेगी. Co-powered by AU Small Finance Bank. बदलाव हमसे है. And Berger Paints, 100 years of trust.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. New week, new conflict, this time in South Asia.